All right, this video is about a trip to Iran and Afghanistan. When my father retired from the Navy, he got hired by Grumman Aerospace Corporation. Grumman had a contract with the Shah of Iran, selling them the F-14 Tomcat. And so this caused our family to actually live in Iran. So we lived in Long Island, New York, Hicksville, Long Island, I was in eighth grade at the time, getting ready to go into ninth grade. Jumped on a flight that took 17 hours, direct flight to Tehran, Iran. All right, so wow, that was a trip, a long and boring trip. Okay, and during our time in Iran, after 2 years, we made another trip all the way back, and the excuse was is to maintain our citizenship in the United States. And then, of course, to get back to Iran, we did all the way back, only to have a half year later be evacuated out of Iran. There's a good little story here. Get ready. I want to move on to the next one. We made it down to Isfahan, so this is the area where we lived. Before Kane, that's that housing area. So here's a little narrative up here. Arrived in June 1976, lived in Hazar Jarib, and I don't even know if I spelt that right. Can't find it on the map at all. At the base of Shah's Mountain. Okay, Shah's Mountain was a mountain where the crown lit up, and I have a pretty poor picture of that, but at least I have a picture. Then moved to American community at Kane Isfahan. So that's where I got the spelling of Isfahan with an E. Okay, I always spelt it with an E, even in college when I was explaining it. So it is an I. Went to high school at Shahnshah. So Shahnshah's up here, and delivered American newspapers printed in Isfahan to both Shahnshah and Kane. Wow, that was busy. Okay, the day would start at home. I would get up and go to school. I'd come back via bus, back to home, go down in Isfahan, pick the newspapers on a bus, come back, take a bus back up with my bicycle, and distribute newspapers all through Shahnshah. That's another American community. And then come back to Kane and deliver the newspapers down there. That was an everyday thing. And that kept me busy as a teenager. So started high school up here when they first put ninth graders in high school. So that's actually the decision was made at that point to do that. So while I was in high school, I went to 3 proms. The first prom was with a German girl. I was ninth grade, went to junior prom. The second one was I went with the 10th grade. I went to the senior prom with a Swedish girl. 11th grade, I was a junior myself, and I went with the prom with an American girl. I do remember her name is Mary, and I can't seem to find her on alumni Facebook for ASI. So anyway, I do remember that. And then back in the States, when I graduated high school, I had another girl. And I got to tell you about the flight when we evacuated. That's a different story. So anyway, that's life in Isfahan. Really interesting as a teenager. But that's about as much as I really want to tell you now. It's just you figure 2.5 years of living here. There's a lot went on. Okay, that's the Shah's crown. That's in the mountain. There's a mountain there. And every time the Shah came to Isfahan used to be the capital of Iran. Now it's Tehran. When the Shah came to Isfahan, that crown would light up, and that's how you would see, or know that the Shah came to town. All right, here's another picture of Isfahan and where Tehran is. We used to drive, or my parents actually used to drive, I'm guessing this road, I don't even know if these roads actually existed back then, but traveled to Tehran for a large quantity of American foods to include beef. They just didn't have beef in Iran. They had a bunch of lamb and dog. And we prefer to have good old-fashioned beef at the time. So a lot of vegetables and so on. You figure most of this is all desert. So and the food that we got out in town we had to do was called rocal. And it's a soapy substance to wash the vegetables before you eat them because of things that you can get from the food. This was much cleaner. We still rocaled all of our food that we got from the commissary up there. Okay, I was in photography class. Mr. Keating was our photography teacher, and took the class on a 2-week field trip across Afghanistan. So there's some people on the alumni group at Facebook that actually was on this, and it was a very for a teenager. I think at this time I was about 16 or 17. It was a very eye-opening experience seeing the poverty across the country. So started here, actually up in Shahnshah is when we left, and went over to Awaz, should be right about here. And I can't find Awaz, but we did go to Awaz. There was a KFC, a Kentucky Fried Chicken there that the colonel was very dark skinned, and I think the chicken was actually seagulls. I'm not sure, but there wasn't chicken. Very greasy. When we crossed this border into Afghanistan, there was such a bad sandstorm. I mean, it was bad. We got on the side of the bus. You could see the line across the sky of the sand barreling toward us, and it was, oh my goodness, what an experience that was. But we made it over to Herat, and then shot across country to Kabul. So with that, the next pictures, this is our baggage that we had. It was cold. Wintertime in the mountains of Afghanistan. There's a camera, one of the old-fashioned single-lens camera. I think this was my stuff. It looks like that's probably a Nikon FM1. That's what I used to have, black and white camera. Some of the scenes, like I said, all we had at the time was black and white. Very colorful, really colorful on the vehicles. All right, looks like a cow out there, and they did have a few cows. But notice where it's grazing, not in a farm that you're used to seeing in the States. There's some people here, and that's one of the shacks. Lots of rocks, lots of desert. Okay, and now shooting across to Kabul. So once we get to Kabul, right here now, up here is Russia, over here is China. And for the life of me, I cannot find the park that we went to. It was, I do remember 50 kilometers north of Russia. That was the Kabul Pass. And I can't find anywhere in here where the Kabul Pass is. It's probably a park, so I don't know if it's up in this area. I don't think it's here. But it was a pass where there was a lot of streams, different areas we can actually wade in the water. And this is a picture that I took in '78, WFQ, my initials, of the mountains with the stream. That's a picture that I took when I was there. And when Khomeini came into town and kicked out the Shah on December 8th, 1978, Admiral Sneed, and that's a different story altogether. I met his son, Lieutenant Sneed, in the Navy one time. I debriefed him from a flight on F-14s. USN had the community gather at the Kane gather at the local park. We had one park that we watch outdoor movies in, and that's the only park we had inside Kane. You know, I opened with who wants to go home for Christmas? Well, of course, we want to all go home for Christmas. After the cheering settled down, he pointed over the crowd and said, "There's the buses." And I'm telling you, we took nothing with us. So our dad stayed behind to actually secure all the items, and really he didn't come home with anything. He did come home eventually. Glad he was safe and he made it, but the community got overthrown by Iranians, and he had to get out of there real fast. Coughing is courtesy of allergies. So here I am on a plane. Now, mind you, I have two girlfriends at the time. So American girlfriend, I forget it, front or back of the aircraft, and the German girlfriend on the other one. Now we're going to Germany, Frankfurt, Germany. So here I am traveling from the front to the back all the time. I'm 17 years old at the time, and my mother is saying, "What are you doing?" Well, I'm going to the front to see one girlfriend and going in the back to see the other girlfriend, and I don't think they ever knew that I was doing that. The girls ever knew. So when we got to Frankfurt, we stayed there for a couple of days. Of course, the German girl departed there, and the American girl stayed on the plane. And then we went from Germany to Long Island, out in Islip is where we landed. And I think I don't know if, I'm sure that some other people left Islip and went their own way, but I think we went all the way into LaGuardia. and that's where the bulk of the people actually went to their homes, Pennsylvania, wherever it might be. But that was the end of this teenager's then time in Iran during the peaceful times. When we landed, my mother was interviewed by the local paper, and thank goodness I was able to find this. Wow, this took some research, but that's my wife. That's my mother being interviewed, Jen Quinn, and a lot of good stuff on here. It's on our alumni page now, but that's us coming off of the aircraft after being evacuated out of Iran. My upcoming videos from this point on is going to be about my travels in the Navy. I've been on 7 cruises. I have 6 cruise books and a bunch of pictures, and I have pictures outside of this too that I'm going to use for reference. I'm going to use all this to make sure I have everything in order. As cruise 1, actually 1 would be amongst those, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then after this is some Disney cruises. So a lot of traveling involved here. It's going to be a total of about 9 or so videos. If you like this, share with a friend. Going to be excellent stuff for schools, I guess, if you want to show your students some ideas about traveling, especially this at a very young age doing that. Hope you like the videos. Give me some thumbs up, share as you would like to. Bye.